everyone, Earl Henderson in Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on, better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Melissa Solis with the Phoenix Police Public Affairs Bureau. The information, audio, video, and pictures you're about to see are intended to provide details as we currently understand them of an officer-involved shooting that occurred on July 15, 2022. This video may contain strong language. This incident happened in the area of Bell Road and the I-17 freeway when Phoenix police were sent to the area to investigate a report of an aggravated assault. A security guard made the 911 call and said he was working nearby and recognized a man that was banned from the property he was guarding. When he got out of his car to talk to him, he noticed the man had a gun. The security guard said he got back in his car and saw the man point the gun at him and walk away. The security guard started to follow him and called police. Here's the 911 call placed by the security guard.
Phoenix 911, where is your emergency? And what is the emergency?
I need an officer assist me to address with this person who pointed his firearm at me.
Okay. What is the name of the business or the property that you're out there? Are you on security guards there?
Yeah.
And this person pointed a gun at you, or what did they point at you?
Yeah, he pointed his pistol at me.
The suspect with the gun continued to walk to a parking lot of a nearby hotel where he came across someone he knew who was in a U-Haul truck. He verbally attacked his male acquaintance, pistol whipped him, pointing a gun at the man's head, and pistol whipped him again. The suspect then went into the hotel. Here's the radio traffic of Phoenix police being dispatched to the initial assault on the security guard.
First traffic at 245 with a gun at 932. The reference at 245 call, they're saying that he possibly pointed the gun again and now at a U-Haul driver.
Officers arrived at the hotel and began looking for the suspect. As they were inside the hotel, they started to get information from a sergeant watching security cameras. The following is radio traffic communication between the officers on scene.
He's running through the north stairwell.
Anything on north stairwell? Running the north stairwell.
Anyone Bravo, be advised. Gun in his right hand, pointing down the hallway. Gun in right hand, pointing down the hallway. If it's still in stairwell, gun in right hand. I cannot tell if it's real or not. Cell phone in left hand.
Body-worn cameras are used by all officers assigned to patrol and several specialty units. Per policy, they are worn at mid-torso level and capture the view of line of sight from that perspective. It's important to note that the camera lens is fixed and does not capture everything seen or experienced by the officer. When activated, both audio and video turn on. The body-worn camera has a buffer of video without audio for the 30 seconds prior to activation. This feature is designed to capture incidents that happen suddenly where an officer doesn't immediately activate the camera. The Phoenix Police Department does not currently use in-car camera systems. The suspect was located near a stairwell and given commands, but ran away. Officers used a 40mm launcher to try to get the suspect in custody, which had no effect. The 40mm launcher is a less lethal tool used by patrol officers which have received specialized training. The launcher discharges a foam projectile which can be used to de-escalate situations by the use of pain compliance. Here is the video from body-worn camera of that interaction.
Alright, so before we get into this part, the security guard that he pointed a gun at. I don't know what the location was. They obviously redacted that. And not all security guards are the same. When it comes to the security industry, there are two forms or two types of standardized, I guess you could say, uniform security guards: armed and unarmed. So when you call a security company and you say you need security, for the most part, for most big security companies, they'll ask if you want armed or unarmed, or they'll tell you the prices for their armed and their unarmed. I don't know why I don't know for sure why there is armed versus unarmed security. Personally, I think unarmed security is fucking stupid. Especially for the type of security that a uniformed security guard would be doing. Dealing with the public and sometimes dealing with undesirable people and telling those undesirable people that they cannot do certain things or they cannot come in there, etc. And then having to deal with these undesirable people potentially going the fuck off on them. And then those unarmed security guards having no way to defend themselves if someone attacks them. But yet they're still expected to go talk and intervene on things. Go talk to people and try and stop them. You will often hear, even within the security industry itself, a lot of security people will say, observe and report, observe and report, observe and report. I think that's kind of a stupid model to be following, personally. If you're going to have a security guard just observe and report, and that's it, then why are you paying for this service? Now, if it's, at midnight to a certain time in the morning and those regular employees are not there, that's understandable, right? Like, I could see the need for a security guard. But if it's for a business during the day when other employees are there, why the fuck are you paying for that service when your other employees can do the exact same thing? Observe and report. A few years back, the bank that I go to, the branch, there was a robbery there. And I actually ended up having to go there the next day for my banking needs. And when I walked in, there was an unarmed security guard from, it was an On Guard, actually, which On Guard in this area is out of business now. But it was an unarmed security guard standing in the bank that had just been robbed by a guy with a gun. And I walked in, and I see this dude, he's wearing it was a dark pants, a white uniform shirt, little gold badge on, and just a slick belt. Nothing on the belt whatsoever. Not even a fucking can of pepper spray. Nothing on him. Not even handcuffs. Like, literally, nothing on his belt. And I just remember thinking, what in the fuck is this guy going to do if someone comes in this bank to rob the damn place? Nothing. This bank is wasting money by having that person there. They're not able to do anything other than observe and then report, which is exactly what the fucking bank tellers are able to do themselves. So, like I said, two flavors of uniform security, armed and unarmed. A lot of clients, they go with that unarmed option because it is a cheaper option. And unfortunately, when it comes to safety and security, people are cheap. They try to go with the cheapest thing possible and then go with unarmed security. And I just do not see the need for unarmed security. I think it's wrong to take someone like that guy who was in my bank. That was fucking wrong. Like, that's not right. Like, you're putting this person in a position where, I mean, it's not likely that the bank robber is going to come back the next day, but let's say he did. That bank robber is going to see a dude in a uniform with a badge. Might end up fucking shooting him because he has a badge on. But that person who's got that badge on isn't able to do anything because he don't have a fucking gun. So I think it's negligent and wrong to tell someone, you are going to have to go deal with the general public, people who come onto this property, whatever, and tell them they can't do something. Tell them they have to leave. And then deal with those consequences if that person is intoxicated, has mental health problems, or is just a complete fucking violent asshole. And that person has no way whatsoever to defend themselves. That's negligent and morally wrong. my security company, that's not an option. I don't have an unarmed option. The only way that I or anyone that I use would ever be unarmed is if we're doing something like an executive protection detail and we're having to fly with the client. Then obviously we're going to have to be unarmed in the airport and on the plane. Or if I'm with a client in a courtroom or something like that. But obviously I'm going to have other things in place, like at the airport. When we get there, we're going to have someone there who's armed and walk us into a certain point till they can't go any further. And then when we land, there's going to be someone there to meet us who's going to be armed. Courtroom, someone's going to be there with us to get to that point to where they can't go any further with a gun. And then when we come out, they're going to meet us. So there's still going to be an armed element there at some point. The only other way that we would not be able to be armed is if we go out of country and we're in a country that doesn't even allow for armed security guards. But even then, there could be still other options, like that country may allow pepper spray, etc., something like that. So there will be some tools there. But that's the only way that I would ever entertain the idea of being unarmed. So this security guard that came across this guy, and the dude pointed the gun at him, I would say chances are he was most likely an unarmed security guard. Now there's still a chance that he could have been an armed security guard and just not cut for the job. Like and there's cops who are like that too. They're just not fit for the job. Like they're not going to be able to do the thing because it's just not in them. But they carry all the stuff, and you don't know who's going to be who until that situation happens, right? But yeah, anyway, so that was just an explanation on armed versus unarmed security. So enough of that jaw jacking. Here we go with the meat and potatoes.
Come on! Come on! Let's see your hands, man, right there! Hey.
Now, one of my biggest gripes when it comes to these videos is officers neglecting to get rifles out on gun calls. So we know that we're dealing with a person that has a gun, right? And what do we see? We see this officer with a pistol, and it looks like the shield guy is going to have a pistol too. Maybe the guy behind him. Yeah, the guy behind him has a pistol. And then this guy right here is the only dude, it looks like, that has a rifle. Now, the guy with the camera, don't know what he has yet. Haven't seen him point anything yet. But as it is right now, all I can see is one rifle. That's a problem to me. These other officers should have rifles as well. If you're going to a gunfight, bring a rifle and bring your friends with rifles. Rifles are more accurate, they have a longer barrel, and there's more points of contact for you to stabilize that rifle to aid in it being more accurate, reducing the movement in the overall system. As compared to a pistol, you have a very short barrel, and any minimal amount of movement within that system, you can be way off on target, especially the further the target is out. And you only get 2 points of contact to stabilize that weapon, your dominant hand and your non-dominant hand. The terminal ballistics between the two are night and day. Rifle rounds are great at rapidly stopping the threat, rapidly incapacitating the threat. Pistol ammunition, not that great. There are a lot of people walking around today who've been shot with pistols, multiple times with pistols, and they're still alive. There's not that many people walking around today who've been shot with rifles, and they're still alive. The rifle cartridge is just, like I said, it's devastating, and it will rapidly incapacitate a target. It takes fewer rounds to do so. You may only have to fire 1 to 3 rounds out of a rifle to incapacitate the threat, whereas a pistol, it could take anywhere, from 1 to 15 rounds. Of course, shot placement is the ultimate thing that matters. But even if you don't get the greatest shot placement with rifle, if you still hit within the torso, the upper torso, it's going to be devastating. You're going to have a more desirable effect with it than you would with pistol. The shield right here. So I got some mixed feelings on shields, and more of it is negative. Usually what you end up seeing with the shield is there's only one person behind it, and then everyone else is in a wedge formation. So you got, right at the tip of the spear, the person with the shield, and then behind them and sidestep to either the left or right by a few steps is the second person, and then the third person behind them is a few steps or a couple steps to the side of that second person. So generally, once you get to that third person, they're completely out from behind the shield. They're not even being covered by it. That second person is sticking halfway out, so they're only halfway covered by the shield. The person with the shield is the only person that's really covered with it. So that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And the person with the shield is utilizing a pistol. And anytime that you're dealing with a pistol and you go one-handed, you're basically slashing your accuracy in half with that. It can be very difficult to aim a pistol one-handed using a shield. If you have a viewport on that shield, yeah, you can stick that gun kind of in front of that viewport and look through that viewport and line your sights up, but that can still be tricky. And then you're still dealing with the fact that you're bringing a pistol to a gunfight when you should be bringing a rifle. So I don't think shields are all that great, unless it's a shield that is on a wheel system. So there are big shields that they're basically on a little cart, I guess you could say. You can push that shield forward. Those are typically utilized by specialized teams like SWAT teams and stuff like that. Those are the only real beneficial shields that I see, because they're wide enough that you can have a bunch of people still stay behind them and push that thing forward. And then it can have firing ports built into it, or a little wing thing off of the side. You can fire from around it. But anyway, those I think are more practical than these tiny little things right there. Anyway, moving on.
Come out! Let's see your hands, man, right there!
Okay, so I was wrong. This guy does have I think he has the launcher. So he might not have a rifle. I think he has that 40mm launcher.
Hands out! Hands out now! Give me your hand! Show me your hand! Hands!
Yeah, that was a launcher.
The officers lost sight of the suspect and continued their search of the hotel. The suspect was seen in another stairwell holding the gun. He left the stairwell and pointed the gun at the officers. One officer responded by firing his duty weapon. Here's the body-worn camera video of that interaction.
Show me your hands!
Alright, so why in the fuck did he not have his gun out to begin with? Back this up.
Show me your hands!
Yeah, so you're at a gun call, you're holding the shield up. Why don't you already have your gun out? So I think that was a fail on his part by not even having his gun out. But he was pretty good on the draw and getting rounds down range.
Here is a different view that was captured by a surveillance camera in the stairwell. The suspect is holding a gun in his right hand and a cell phone and backpack in his left hand. The suspect can be seen looking through a small window on the stairwell door. He opens the door and points the gun down the hallway where officers are standing. This is when the officer-involved shooting occurs. The suspect then ran to a laundry room on the second floor of the hotel and tried to hide from officers in a dryer. The suspect began pointing the gun to his own head. An officer discharged multiple less lethal stun bags at the suspect, causing him to comply. Bags at the
Ow. Let's play that again.
suspect, causing him to comply.
Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop it!
Drop the gun!
Throw it out!
Drop it!
Throw the gun out
Drop the
now!
gun! Drop the gun! Don't try to get out. Drop the gun!
Alright, so see what I mean by the shield? Like, this dude's got the shield over there. He's covered. But what about these other guys? They're not covered by anything. So this is why I think shields are kind of useless. Oh, never mind. This guy's got a shield too. So he's kind of partially covered. But this guy's not really covered at all. And he wasn't to begin with either until he started backing up this way.
Drop it!
Just keep crawling out! Keep crawling out! Keep coming! Keep coming! No, don't reach back! Don't reach back! There you go, just keep crawling out, dude!
No!
Alright, lay
Crawl
down!
back to us!
Lay down! On your stomach, dude!
On your belly. On your belly.
He was taken into custody and transported to a local hospital for injuries caused by the less lethal projectiles. He was not struck by any bullets. The suspect was later released and booked into the Maricopa County Jail. The officer involved in this shooting has been on the department for 6 years and is assigned to the Cactus Park precinct. This incident is the subject of both an internal and criminal investigation, which will be reviewed by the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. Conclusions about whether the actions of the officers are consistent with...
All right. So the officer fired multiple rounds at him, but none of them hit him. This guy's lucky that nothing else happened to him. Looked like from the stairwell that this guy was very uneasy on his feet. So he was probably intoxicated with something, most likely on some drugs. Back out there.
and down the hallway where officers are standing. This is when the officer involved shooting occurs.
So, I'm not even sure where the rounds hit when that officer fired.
Window on the stairwell door. He opens the door and points the gun down the hallway where officers are standing. This is when the officer involved shooting occurs. Where officers are standing. This is when the officer involved shooting occurs.
You can see it looks like an impact on the door here as soon as he steps away and it starts to close. It could be a round hitting the door and you seeing it splatter, or he could be hitting that glass right there and it causing glass dust. I think it's hitting the door. I'll hit that one more time so
down
you
the
can
hallway.
Watch that open door frame right there and see the little strikes.
Where officers are standing. This is when the officer involved shooting occurs.
And again, rifle. So, pistol should go through that door. I mean, there's probably a hole in this wall. But even if this is a fire-rated door and it's very thick and the pistol didn't go through it, I guarantee you rifle's going to go through that motherfucker. So, had an officer with a rifle been aiming and then fired, I'd say there'd probably be a pretty good chance that a round would have hit him. It would have completely broke the barrier on this and gone through and struck him. And it would have been more accurate too. So the officer with the pistol, he actually did basically like a quick draw and then started shooting. So he's shooting one-handed and under stress with the gun being pointed at him. So he was nowhere near being very accurate with that pistol. Had he had a rifle and wasn't holding that shield and had a good, grip and stance, not stance, but a good hold on the rifle, two hands, shoulder, cheek on stock, all the points of contact, maybe even bracing his left arm up against that wall. As soon as that guy opened that door and he put red dot on him, I guarantee you he would have made a hell of a shot. And this incident would have ended a lot sooner. But that didn't happen. And that, like I said, is one of my biggest gripes when it comes to these videos, not having rifles out on a gun call. But at least one officer did have a rifle out, so kudos to him. That's about it. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.